your reaction, especially at the time when that first started happening? People have, and this all came after the moment with Becky, correct?
Yeah.
Is that what kind of spawned it all? Okay, so let's go back to that Becky moment. What happened during all of that? That was right before Survivor Series.
Yeah, it was right before Survivor Series where I think her and Rhonda were gonna have a singles. Um, so oh my gosh, I'll never forget that shit. So SmackDown was invading, right? Raw. And the producer of that match, won't name names, basically was like, I don't care.
Break into full like impression mode.
Basically, yeah, right. Basically, this needs to look real. Say sorry later. And we were all like, okay, cool. Like, let's go. Let's have fun, whatever. And being the larger person, I feel as though people feel, oh, we can hit the shit out of her. She'll be fine. Which is true. Like, for the most part, like I get wailed and whatever. I'm okay. I'm pretty sturdy. Well, I just remember right when they invaded, I feel as though everybody came after me, which is okay. But like, I was getting nailed. Like the back of my head, I'm like, geez Louise, okay, I get it. And then finally I find Trin. Love Trin. I'm all Trin, sis. Let's just sit in this corner. Like, Trin, we're like just talking shit in the corner, whatever. And then I continue to get punched in the back of the freaking head. And I was like, good Lord. So I just turn around and I really just like go to clear the person, like whatever angles they showed. My fist wasn't closed. I didn't punch her, but it did connect. I didn't even realize it was Becky. I honestly thought it was Lana. Love her to death though. Anyways,
that if it was Lana, her face would have been like in the back of her head.
Horrified. I mean, gosh. But I was like, so whatever, did that, didn't realize anything happened. Like, honestly, and then I'll go back to Trin and then we keep going. Then I look around and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's blood everywhere. And then I look and I'm like, oh crap, Becky's down, whatever. And then we go through this segment, everything happens. And I'm like, shit. I was like, was that me? Like literally, like didn't even, I was like, oh crap. Get backstage. And she got taken up to medical immediately. And I'm like worried about her, like, what's going on? And then I'm also freaking out because they're slow replaying it. Kevin sends the replay to Vince and Gorilla, and it's replaying slow, and they're cutting to every freaking angle. And I was like, like hot flash, big red hot flash goes through my body. And I was like, I'm so screwed. Gosh. And I just felt immediately like shit. I was like, oh man, you know, that feeling like in your stomach, you just, so
I went can we just rewind a little bit and have a little redo of that?
I was like, no. So I go to check on her. And of course, medical's like, everybody out, give her some space. Cause everybody wanted to make sure she was okay.
Yeah.
I was like, shit. And then I go to Vince and I was like, I'm so sorry. And he's like laughing. He's like, and he was just like, well, it's not ballet. Yeah. And then I was like, okay. So then I walk away and I was like, leave it alone. Then I'm like texting Becky, making sure she's okay, just bugging the shit out of her. And of course, Becky's like, oh, I'm fine, you know, tough Becky. Yeah. And then at Survivor Series, when, or no, before that happened, I had like this little cut on my knuckle. And I don't know if it was from the hit, but I was texting Nikki and he was just like, dude, you're getting so much shit online, da, da, da. And I was like, well, should I go with it? Should I like, he was like, honestly, like,
Nikki's a social media guy.
Yeah, Nikki tweets, sorry.
He's the best.
He's like, just run with it. And so I just like sent out a tweet, like, you know, some stupid, like, is anybody asking what my hand's doing? Like, just, and of course the internet went freaking ablaze and hated my guts. And so right before Survivor Series, when they hit my music, actually that night, the Survivor Series, somebody else was supposed to go over, but it got back to Vince how much the internet was like hating me and how like that he changed the finish. Wow. He was like, actually, we're gonna have Nia go over because he wanted the heat. And then so when my music hit, the crowd was booing the shit out of me. Like it was insane. And Vince was like, he was like, all those baby faces should be thanking you. And I was like, why? And he was like, because they got a true legitimate heel here. And sorry, you better stop, Benji.
Hey, you know I'm never mad at Benji.
I know. Hey. But anyways, so then so he's like, you got a true legitimate heel here. And then he was like, you go out there and you point at that fist and you smile. And then from then on, I just played into the role of like, okay, I guess, yeah.
When you're given a moment like that, though, I mean, you know, good, bad, or whatever, you have to do something with it, right? And it's like in the world of wrestling, you don't turn away from moments like that. You have to lean into that and ride that wave out. What is it like being you, Lena, and getting reactions like that? Like how does that play into like real life of having fans react that way and then also having your social media react that way? Like I know there's definitely the part that's like, oh, it's kind of fun, I can play into it, whatever, but is there another side of that that creeps
Oh,
in?
1,000%. Like in the beginning, you're like, oh, it's just character. But like I said, there's a blurred line. Like nobody says Nia Jax is Lena, right? They're not like saying this is
Yeah.
character. I mean, and our fans are just, they're ruthless. They're great, but they can be ruthless. And so I'm like sitting there and like my mom or like, family members will read the comments and I'm like, stop reading the
Oh,
comment. Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Yeah, do
Stop.
not.
And they don't. My mom will read it. She's like, this person said this. I'm like, Mom, who cares? Like these
I had
people.
to like block my mom a few times because I'm like, I need you to not engage with people on my social media because you are not helping the case.
Oh, some of my best friend's mom, she'll like go on there and talk so much crap to whoever like wants to step up. I love her. But I'm like, it hurts a little, it does. Like
Yeah.
you can't sit here and act like it doesn't because they say some seriously mean stuff. And that's my work, right? Like if anybody who knows me in the locker room, like I know I was so much bigger than everybody. I know that I'm a lot stronger and that like I've already acknowledged it. Coach Sarah Amato had always said like you always have to be aware because you are so much bigger that like you throwing your arm and hitting somebody in the face is not going to be the same as like, somebody smaller than you.
Right.
And so I was always conscious of that. And I always try to take pride. Like I worked with Lexi most of my career, right? Like she's so
Right.
tiny and she trusted me. And so like, I always like that hurt when people just like went, oh, she just injures everybody. She just hurts everybody. And I'm like, and I can tell you this right now, in my career, I know I've injured two people. Obviously, Becky was one of them, and there's another one that like, I don't want to call her out, but like I know I did, and I've profusely apologized. And other things, I'm like, gosh, they made like a whole YouTube about certain things. I was like, geez, hey, guess what? We get in there and we're going 300 days a year, and not all of my moves are going to look super clean
Yeah.
and smooth and just come out like cherries, but I'm not injuring people. I'm not purposely going out to hurt people. Like that's what hurts. That's what hurt me the most because I was like, I consciously make an effort to make sure that I can make everybody look good and keep it safe and make sure we all get out like laughing and having a good time and safe.
Yeah. But you
And
put in so much work. Anybody that's under contract with WWE is busting their ass, whichever
yeah,
way you want to look at it. Everyone's
exactly.
putting in work. And like you said, you're on the road all the time. There's always different shows, there's house shows, there's blah, 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 media, all the things. There's so much stuff happening all the time. But yeah, you definitely like you got a bad end of it. But I also think another thing that maybe coincided with that is your bloodline, is
Oh,
people reacting to your family and whatnot. How much do you think that played into this as well? I feel like they kind of went hand in hand.
oh yeah. I mean, it was like, oh, she's not going to lose her job because she's related to, The Rock and da 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 and all this stuff. And I mean, you just got everybody under the sun ripping me to shreds about that. And it's funny because that's so far from the truth. Like it's so far from the truth. Like, you know, uh Vince didn't have an issue, right? Like my boss, the person who signed the checks and who
Mhm.
didn't have an issue. He knew, he's like, shit happens, like we're gonna make the best of it. And the whatever family members they thought supported me were opposite, did not have my back. And trust me, did not have any support with me in this business for a long time. So
That sucks.
yeah, I mean, it does. It sucks because, your family and it is what it is. But I actually didn't mind it too much because I thought I was creating something of my own.
Yeah.
You know, like I get like I always pay homage to the family and like, gosh, we have such an insane lineage, like
Yeah.
incredible lineage, and the legacy will live on forever. But and I'm sure any legacy like character, any legacy person is going to come and be like, I want it like Charlotte, Tamina, Natty. We all want to like put our own footprint on it.
Mhm.
And that's something I was like, you know what, that's fine if you don't want to have my back or support me or whatever. It's fine. Like I kind of want to do this on my own.
Yeah.
And you know, like I can go out on my I wanted to be just like everybody else. Like initially I never, when I first got signed, I didn't tell anybody who I was related to. And somebody had heard that one of the cousins was there, and it was actually Becky who like found out. She's like, it's you, isn't it?
Ah,
And I was like, and then when I got in the car accident with my aunt, The Rock's mom, that's when he kind of like let it be known that it was me.
wait, when were you guys in a car accident?
Oh, when I first got signed to WWE and NXT, I
I
got
didn't know that.
yeah, we were driving and a drunk driver hit us head on, and like it broke my collarbone right when I started training.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It was
Oh my
it was
gosh.
pretty crazy accident, but like thank God we were all
Wow.
alive. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Holy
Yeah.
shit. Wow.